I have been asked more and more about deposits and how do you get a deposit for a house, a flat, a studio, a castle. How do you get a deposit? Well, some say it's difficult, I can't do this and I can't do that, but not being funny, guys, it's pretty easy, really. All you need to do is be single-minded in your approach on how to save money. Now, if you're going to go out for drinks and you're going to go out for that weekend, or you're going to go on holiday for 2 weeks, those are really easy targetable things. You can say, right, if you're going to go out and get absolutely plastered at your local nightclub, you know you're going to be 100, 150 pound down on the night. Okay, well, it's not going to help you save for a deposit, is it? If you're going to spend 2 weeks in Spain and it's going to cost you 1.5 grand, well, that's certainly not going to help you save for a deposit, is it? But it's not so much the big stuff. Well, of course it's the big stuff, but it's the small stuff. You go to Costa or you go to Starbucks and you have a coffee and you have a piece of cake, and I doubt you'll be doing it on your own, so you'll be with somebody else. So when I go with the wife, 2 coffees, 2 pieces of cake, maybe a sandwich, and you're 20-25 pound down. Well, okay, well, that don't sound so much, does it? That don't sound so bad, is it? £20 a week is £1,000 a year. £1,000 a year. So you could be saving £1,000 per year by just not having 1 coffee session per week in Starbucks or Costa. Now, I see the younger generation out and they haven't got no money, because I know you haven't. I can see the younger ones, they're like 20, 21 years old, and they're all having these big frappuccinos and they're enjoying themselves in Costa, and you think, well, okay, that's great. I know you can't afford it. I know you can, because it hurts me to spend 20 quid on coffee that I can make at home. So now that's just once a week. So if on the end of a Friday or the last day of the week, say the working week, you have a nice coffee and you just do it once a week, that's £1,000 a year on just once a week. Now, what happens if you're doing it more often? What happens if you do it twice, 3 times a week? Some people are doing it twice a day. Now, if you're doing that, then you're losing thousands of pounds that you could be saving. It's not just that, is it? It's shoes and clothes. You say, right, well, I'm going to buy it cheap and I like that pair of shoes and that's good, and this is what I'm going to... Well, every £50 you spend on a pair of shoes is £50 that doesn't go towards the deposit. Now, I know what happens to get, say, 10 or 15 or 20,000 pounds seems an inordinate amount of money, and it is a lot of money. Is it? If you are single-minded in your approach, truly single-minded, you say, I got nothing on my mind, I want to buy this house, I want to get on my foot on the rung of the first on the ladder, the first rung of the ladder. I want to get I want to get over the finish line of getting your first house. You are not gonna do that if you're drinking coffee 3 or 4 or 5 times a week. I see it downtown. Students, and they're all sat round and they got their computers, and they're all in all these different Nero coffee shops, Costa, Starbucks. They're the big ones, aren't they? But there's lots of different ones. Now, the thing is, I know that they're spending money they can't really afford, and what's happening is each one per week is £1,000. Stop it. Stop the spending. There are way other things. Sorry, my hands are off the steering wheel because I'm stopped, the engine's off. There are way other things as well. If you say, right, well, I need a good car, and you do, it's nice to drive around. If a car don't start, it's useless, isn't it? But if you're going to get a nice BMW X5 and the lease cost on that is £1,000 a month, and I mean a month, okay, that's 12 grand a year you're spending on a lease for a car that you don't own. Now, if you're later on in life and that's what you want, you're semi-retired, you're into your 50s, and you say, you know what, I deserve a nice car and I've got something behind me, so I'm going to do that. And that's fine. As a matter of fact, everything's fine. It's a choice. So you could save yourself £1,000 a month on a lease if you got yourself a little Volkswagen Polo. You say, I don't want a Polo, I want a big car. Well, make a choice. Do you want generational wealth to build equity in generational wealth, which means getting a hold of a deposit, or do you want a big car? Kind of a nice choice, isn't it? Well, or do you want a holiday? Or do you want all the clothes and the shoes? Or do you want to drink coffee twice a day, every day? Do you want that lifestyle? It's a choice. It's a massive choice. So how do you save for a deposit? It's really quite easy. You need to be brutal. Brutal with yourself. Brutal with what you spend, in that you don't. You do not spend. You just save everything. Now, that gives you a very, very bland lifestyle, because suddenly you ain't going downtown, the glitz, the glamour, the wine bars, and everybody is in there drinking wine, and you'll see it all on social media. They'll be in Dubai. They'll be on social media and they're at a wine oh, it's lovely, we're having cocktails, why don't you come and join us? Well, actually, I'm trying to... Okay, the dogs, come on, move over, move over. You say, I would love to join you, but the thing is, I need to think about generational wealth. Whilst you're drinking wine, I want to save up a deposit. Whilst you're going on holiday, I want to have a house. And now you're not going to make any money out of that house for the first 1 to 5 years. Yeah, you'll be all right. It'll cut even and it'd be hard work. But after that, that's when the equity starts building. The generational wealth starts building. So all these people that are on Instagram and they're drinking glasses of wine, that's beautiful. It really is beautiful. And you're going to miss out on that. Start going for walks at the local park. Get yourself a dog. Go for walks. Hike. Go for walks on the beach. Do things that don't cost any money. They say, oh, the best things in life are free. Kind of like a nice Lamborghini, but that's not free. So what I'm saying is, it's a choice. Generational wealth, where you need to save for a deposit, or not. Or a beautiful life, a nice, easy life now, or a much easier life later on in life, when you're older, when you're in your 50s and your 60s. Because if you got to 55, you say, you know what, I ought to buy a buy-to-let. Well, okay, and you did. There's no wrong time. But 55, I'd rather buy a buy-to-let at 25 than at 55. Because by the time you reach from 25 to 55, oh... 30 years with a buy-to-let, not only have you got that huge amount of equity, in theory, that it's built, but your mortgage is that much, your rent is this much, you're doing okay. But you've got to start off, be brutal, be single-minded. That means no spending. This thing cost an arm and a leg, and apparently I get a new one every now and then, which costs an arm and a leg. And now, okay, I get it for Christmas all the time. Thank you. That's from the wife. Thank you. What I'm saying is, do you need that? Do you really need that? Or could you get, or could you manage on an iPhone? I don't even know what that is. Could you manage, is that a 14 or 16? I don't know, the latest one. Could you manage on an iPhone 12? If you can, do that. Because you're going to save yourself, like, I don't know how much those are, 1,000, 1,500? Do you need to spend 1,500 when that could go towards a deposit? Everything can go towards a deposit. Buying a nice watch, you say, oh, I really want that Rolex. Yeah, I'm sure you do. Well, well, I can get it interest. Actually, you can't get a Rolex interest free, but you can get the other ones interest free. Well, it's interest free. It's free money. There's no such thing as free money. And if you want that watch, then that's wonderful. Go and get that watch, and that's beautiful. If you want that James Bond watch, if you want that Rolex watch, all that does is push back the deposit, because you now spent 3, 4, 5, 10, 15,000 on a watch that tells you the time. So could you get a Casio for £200 or a Rolex for 15 grand? Okay, one of them is going to help you save for a deposit and one is not. You got to be brutal. You got to be single-minded. If you can get away with not having a watch at all, tell the time on the phone. I'm just being realistic here. It's quite easy to save for a deposit. So people that, I mean, like I work out and about in the city all day, right? Now it'd be very easy for me to go to the local co-op or Morrison or Tesco's and get a meal deal. Now a meal deal, you say, well, come on, a meal deal can be anything. We'll say it's £5. Okay, it's £5. That's £5 per day. So that's 5 days. That's £25. That's £1,250 a year I'm spending on meal deals that I don't need to spend if I don't need to. Now, it's okay for me, I go and see my parents, they're elderly, and I go and check on them and talk to them and I have a cup of tea and things like that. But what I'm saying is, you want to spend $1,250 on a meal deal and then go out twice and have coffee at Starbucks on an evening or a weekend? Or we go to Patisserie Valerie in the mall. You don't come out of there with less than 50 quid spent. Well, that's 2,500 a year if you go to 50 quid in Patisserie Valerie once a week. Can you see how it adds up? It's so easy to save for a deposit. Stop it. Go to Tesco's and buy a loaf. I don't know how much a loaf is. Oh my God, I sound like an MP, don't I? Well, I'm not going to answer that question. I don't know how much a loaf. I don't know how much. I don't know. Say it's £1. You can get a cheap loaf. I'm sure you can. Bread and butter. Get some cheese. Make it yourself. Take that with you. You can save yourself an arm and a leg each day, and each day you do that, that builds up, and you get yourself a deposit. £1,000. Make that goal for £1,000, then 2, then 5, and then 10, and then once you've jumped into 5 figures and you've got 10,000, and it's not that hard to do. It's not that hard to do if you are absolutely single-minded in what you do. You could say, and this is quite important too, you say, well, my rent costs £800 a month. You say, yeah, I know. Now there may be, you've got absolutely categorically no choice in that, because it's how you live. I don't know, that's how you live. But there are a couple of people that I know, and I've spoke to them too, and you may even watch this video. He was pulling out best part of $950 a month on his rent. I said, why don't you move back home? He said, well, I like being independent. I said, yeah, you need to be independent, or you like being independent, or you got no choice. He said, well, no, it's just nice. So he moved back home. And he did. He loves it there. Mum and Dad, he gets on well with his mum and dad. They like him back there. He's about 25 years old. You know who you are if you're watching this. And now he instantaneously saves himself well over £1,000, because then he had part of this gas, water and electric. I mean, he gives his mum and dad a couple of £100, but that's peanuts compared to what he's saving. So look at your housing situation. Can you move back home? You might not be able to. Can you live with someone else? Do you need a 2-bed flat? Do you need a house? Can you move into a studio? Someone says, well, I like my 2-bed house. I got friends that come round to stay. Well, okay, then pay for that. Now, you could say, right, well, okay, I don't need that. I need a room. Can you live with a girlfriend, a partner? You might not be able to. You might not have a partner. Can you live with a mate, a friend? Two blokes together that aren't together but are friends. It's much cheaper to rent a 2-bedroom flat than it is to have a 1-bedroom flat, and you can split the bills. You can save money like that. There are so many ways. But if somebody says, no, I like my holidays, I like my wine on a Saturday night, I like coffee down the local mall on the weekend, I like my food in the canteen at work, I like my big flash car, and I want my own 2-bedroom flat because that's what I like, then you ain't ever going to save up for a deposit because you're so busy pulling out money on bills. So it just keeps going back. Being single-minded on what you want. Stop spending money. Just stop spending money that you don't need to spend, and everything got to be worked out. Stop driving a big car that you don't really need. Now, if you need a great big car for towing a trailer because that's what you do for work, well, then you need it, don't you? It's no good buying a Volkswagen Polo when you need a Land Rover to tow a 3.5-ton trailer, is it? So what I'm saying is, cut your cloth to do... It's so easy. Cut out everything you don't need. Single-minded, focused in on what you need. And if you do that for a year, wow, you'll be surprised how much you can save. Go save, people.